Hey, how's it going, everybody? Sarasota Tim. You know, this video I had to make while it's fresh in my mind. I was on the phone for quite a while with a relative of mine, and we got to talking about everything, and we were on all types of things. And then we finally got on one thing that she had a lot of it was my sister. She had a lot of insight, or seemed to have a lot of overview on. I said, you know what, that'd make a good video to talk about, because it involves life today. And I think it involves the majority of us. So how do I begin? I even asked her, I go, how do I begin a video like that? So we got on the subject of what people want in life. And, you know, she's a single woman. And she was saying that she wants fulfillment. And I started saying things to her like, well, you know it sounds cliche and people have always said it and it's so simple that people are like, yeah, not that story again. But I said, what people want is to be happy with themselves, totally happy with who you are and what you have, and with gratitude. And then I went on to say, of course, that you have a faith, that you have a faith in God. And if you have that and you're happy with yourself and who you are and how much you have and don't have, minimalist living, that really, there was an old saying that what people want is something to be enthusiastic about. But they find something that lasts a day or a week, and then they need something else. And it's just constantly searching. And I said to her, I think if people were happy with themselves and knew who they were, and what I just said, she goes, well, I have that. I have faith, and I am happy with myself. But she didn't say it like, but I don't have fulfillment. And at the same time she did. She just meant like me. I'll be honest. Her and I were talking, and while I have those things too, and I'm happy with myself, and I certainly have my faith, and I honor God, and I trust in Him for direction and wisdom, because that's the way I grew up. But what she said that I wanted to make the video that was so insightful is that there seems to be a lot of, in today's world, discontent or confusion. And she says, I just came back from a trip, and I was listening to a DJ on the radio, and he said, you remember back in the 80s and 90s how music was kind of romantic and fun, and the DJs would come on. Remember Delilah? And people would call in and say, I want to dedicate this song to my friend or my love. And people were, doing things. She says that, when she was younger and the kids were younger, that, she's a little younger than me, they used to go out on the boat, and there was a lot of family things that we're doing. And she's leading up to a point where things back in the day were different in the respect that we talked more and we did more. And technology today has took that away. And what's come with that is all of this texting and social media. And then what's grown with that is a lot of the discontent and the overload of information that really comes too hard, too fast to even process. In the 80s and the 90s, we had beginning of cell phones and pagers, but, we intermingled more, and we did things more, and we made phone calls. Today, people will text for 30 minutes. Texting should be something like, hey, I'm running late. I'll be there in 5. But if you got more than that to say, why not pick up the phone and call somebody? And then you've got all this social media and bullying and then all this thing about politics and all these different things. And I'm leading up to another point. I'm remembering what we were talking about now. She said, after the COVID, she said, or the pandemic, either one, things changed. People started moving. Like, we have a lot of people in Florida that are coming here, and a lot of people in California that are going there and leaving, and vice versa, and everywhere really. And she said, people have started wanting to find something. It's one thing to try to grow your life, your business, and move and make a go of it. But people are searching for something, and they're moving around. They're leaving where they're at. Everybody wants to be where they're not. A friend of mine says. How true for some. And so in doing that, they're trying to find new places to live, new friends. Their kids have grown now. They've got their grandkids have their parents now, doing things for them and entertaining them. And it's not just the older people like me that don't have kids anymore, that aren't doing a lot of stuff. It's even younger people that are searching. And this new world we're basically in, like she said, when the DJs used to come on and we used to listen to that stuff, on the radio and the music. And it was romantic, as this DJ said that she was listening to last night. And with the Delilah shows, you remember that? Remember Delilah? And people just talked more, and they had better feelings, and it wasn't so biting so much. And then everything's been promulgated and blown out of proportion with media and social media, and everybody's got an opinion, and of course there's division, and we have all the other issues that we don't need to go into politically, with the borders and cost of living, and it's distracting, and it's causing discontent. And so people feel unfulfilled. When we didn't have these thoughts or all these concerns, or as many of them, certainly we didn't have as many of them as we did in the 80s and 90s, or pre-pandemic even. And here's another thing that her and I didn't discuss, but I want to say it. I remember when people were working at Payless Shoe Store or any other little job that really wasn't a high-paying job, but people were searching for jobs because they wanted to work. They didn't care what it was. They wanted some money to be able to go out and do what they wanted to do, and to live a lifestyle and have some sort of self-esteem they can get with their friends and do the things they like to do. And then since the pandemic, you can't even get people to work. Nobody wants to work. Everybody thinks everybody owes them something. And we've been brainwashed into believing a lot of crap that isn't even true. And so now you can be a confident person with self-esteem to a degree, to a high degree. You can know God, but there's so much going on, and it's going so fast, it's harder to stay focused on that today, in my opinion, than it was before the Great Reset. And I find that, what is it that will fulfill us? It's different for each person. What is it that will fulfill the majority of us that the country needs? What is it that needs to stop? What is it that needs to start? What is it that we need to go back to when we were a lot more agreeable? And even if we had disagreed with each other, we agreed to disagree, or we could work it out. Even in our own government, on both sides of the aisle, they could reach over and make some kind of, I don't want to make this political, I'm saying that's just with individuals too, about life. And whoever saw this coming, like in 2020 in March, go home, sit down, We need to flatten the curve. We have a pandemic going on. And suicide went up. Alcoholism went up. Divorces went up. Babies were being born more. All these different things they say. And then now that's behind us, and we have this lag effect of all of this that kind of was created from it. People are moving around, like we talked about a second ago, looking for different jobs, different places to live, different states, making new friends. People's children, some live over in this state, some live on that state. Everybody's apart. And a lot of things have changed that I really believe, I don't believe that everybody's, going crazy. I'm not saying it like that. I'm just saying that, and I'll speak for myself. I'm a single guy, and, I'm divorced. And there was a time where, I loved that person and had children. And then, you fall out of love. People get divorces. It's the way it's been going on forever. And you forget that person and you get over your sadness and your feelings and all that. And you go to another one and another one sometimes. And then you may not even have anybody. Maybe you don't even want anybody. But you're alone in the world and you're like, okay, I got to find myself. I need to study what it means to be happy with self. And I need to get closer with my Creator. And then everything is going to be great. And those two, in my opinion, are the lion's share. But there's still a certain amount of fulfillment if you don't want to be alone. And you are meant to share your life, or you want to share your life with someone that's like-minded, that wants to do what you want to do. And when you're down, you can talk to them. When you're up, you can share those experiences with them. And you can share your life, because when the children grow up and the grandchildren are busy doing their thing with their friends, and you now only have who you're with, then that's even more important then. So, it's about fulfillment. It's about what is it that you want. How many of you out there actually feel unfulfilled? How many of you out there are so fulfilled, you're blessed, you have that special one in your life, you don't have anybody, you just are happy with what you got? And I think that the first two things are very important. Liking yourself, loving yourself, and who you are and what you have, what you don't have. Being grateful for health, and, you can walk down the street. I mean, really, because when you don't have that, you'll find out how important that is. And then having some kind of faith. And I know a lot of people claim they don't have faith. They don't believe in God. Maybe they believe in something else. But that's important to me. But there's more. And we talk about it on the channel here when we do Crushing It for Christ, that God can bring those things in your life if you seek Him first. And I really believe He will. That special someone, that best place to live, those friends that you need to, come in your life. And believe me, I've been blessed in the time I've been a YouTuber with people I would have never met in my life had it not been for YouTube. And this is what my sister and I were talking about, was when she was on her vacation, her friend said, I never done so much in my life in such a short period of time. Because my sister wanted to go and do, because she had a limited amount of time where she went. And she said, well, it's good for you to get out and do some stuff. And the girl said, yeah, I'm all wore out, but I look forward to you coming back. But my point was that when you're talking to people every day, like she was doing with her friends, taking up your time, that's what it was. We were talking about that. That's a fulfillment. Something that takes up your time of the day, that you are doing something with, you are talking to. And it doesn't have to be, and she made this very clear, anything you got to go out and do that costs money. You don't need to seek entertainment that costs this. There's plenty of things to do that don't cost you anything. And just having time, spending time with friends and those that you love. And how true that is, because loneliness, without being able to talk or have a soundboard or sharing ideas, that makes you happy. That's good for you. And if you've had it and now you don't have it, you're going to go through a spell. It's like quitting drinking or trying to get off sugar or, changing your diet. It's an adjustment. It's difficult. And it can be troubling. And if it goes on too long and you don't adjust to it, like I'm talking about life, not a diet, then you need to figure it out. And I think that the first two things, if you find yourself happy with who you are, and then you ask the Creator, the Lord, to fulfill that. If it's not someone else in your life that's missing a piece of a puzzle, maybe it's a hobby, a social gathering of new friends, something, but time, taking up your time, than to sit around and think your thoughts or to read social media or texting or watching media on TV. These things have caused a lot of discontent in our country. So what is it we need to do? How do we revert back to the good stuff, the good old days, and still use the advantage of technology like FaceTiming? It's the next best thing to being there. You miss the ones you love, you can FaceTime, So that part of technology is good when you're away. But something, and God will see it happen. We're going through a change in this country, in this world. And I believe that. It's not just I'm speaking for my own self that I'm lonely or, all this. I am to a degree. Yeah, I'm unfulfilled in certain areas. And I've gone through some changes. You all know this. And I'm figuring out, but I'm strong. And I'm going to figure it out. And I'm going to rely on the Lord to help me figure it out. I'm not going to try and do it on my own. But there is more. There is more that I need. Is there more that you need? Is there more, or are you completely happy? If you are, I'm happy for you. I really am. If you're riding that wave of success right now, and you're hitting on all 8, and nothing's bothering you, you got your health, you've got somebody in your life, your kids are healthy, your finances are good, whatever, even if you don't have money, but you're just happy, and you're getting by. Well, then kudos to you, because, when you listen to the noise, a lot of people aren't happy, and we can see that. They promote that, and they don't have enough, and they need more. And so that's why I think one good step would be, and this is just came to my mind. It's not the all answer, but like paying it forward like I'm doing. That's just something that I do, okay? It's just a few dollars. I'm not going to go out and pay somebody's rent. I got my own rent to pay. But people that do have that kind of money do donate like that. But if you can do a favor for somebody, if you can lift somebody up, if you can buy somebody a cup of coffee, if you can mow somebody's grass, if you can make them a new friend of yours and get acquainted, a neighbor you've never spoke to or something, and you start filling in your time during the day, if it's not someone you haven't met yet, or you already have someone, but there's still fulfillment you need, if you find a way to fill in someone else's time and to lift them up, you lift yourself up. We definitely reap what we sow. We definitely are as we think. If I want to go down in the mouth and have a pity party and woe is me, I'm going to walk around pretty depressed and no self-esteem. So you have to think right. But it's not just like positive mental thinking. It's actually doing something. It's rewarding. It's actually doing something. And I believe that our country and our world needs more love and more kindness and more sharing and more giving of your time and efforts to lift somebody else up. And at the same time, you're lifting yourself up. And what do you end up getting out of that? Two people crushing it.